Hello and welcome everyone to another North Star Ball podcast discussion review. We really don't have names for these yet. We will one day. For now, we're going to keep up with the catchy nicknames. I'm Dane. I'm joined by our certain regular and our now semi-regular Devon and Dominic.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Today we're immediately going to do two different types of tier lists. You guys will be able to check in the description if you're on YouTube for the alternate one, which will be predicting the set 11 meta. And the one that we're doing currently is actually going to be ranking the set 11 leaders, as well as kind of the decks that they're in and see how they can perform and where we think they'll actually end up.
Yeah, we even have a fun little the promo Gohan because that's technically set 11. So
It's all kind of part of it. So
some good stuff.
2 per color and 3 black leaders.
Which is really rare because black usually gets like 1 or none.
Yeah. So I think we let's take a quick vote. We could do color left to right. We could do best leaders, or we could do worst leaders. What do you guys think?
I think we should just go in order of color personally and just keep it
Sound
straightforward.
easy peasy. Well, so first we have Gogeta, or SSB Gogeta, Prophet of Demise. I don't think anyone's gonna say that that he's here. So here's my immediate take. Every time I have played this leader and this deck, I have wanted it to do more. Every single game, I've like, this is just not great. The leaders, like the front side, you can like +3 going second, which is crazy. Like, it's absolutely nuts. But you run out of steam pretty quick, and the deck doesn't search for the 2-drop unison at all. And the leader's front side only searches so deep. It goes 7 cards for an extra card with an energy cost of 1. But like, you're supposed to be an aggro / mid-range deck, so you're not trying to play extra cards. Like,
right.
Yeah, there's the 4 copies of Birth of a Super Warrior or whatever. But are you just supposed to rely and hope that you hit the 2 copies of Wolfang Fist and 2 copies of Afterimage that you got?
It only searches 1 drops, right?
Yeah, 1 drops.
Yeah.
Doesn't even search just red
extras.
extra.
It's any 1 drop extra card?
Any 1 drop red.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna say that could change some things.
What? Not even a scratch, and that's
Maybe.
about it.
That'd be good. No.
Max Kamehameha.
Max Kamehameha. Pretty solid.
Anyway, these don't matter because it just can't grab it. It's all right on the front side.
Backside is pretty good. 20k double strike. Could draw an additional card every turn. Pretty good.
I guess the big question here is, would you play this leader over the set 5 Gogeta?
Set 6.
Set 6.
So I've gone back and forth because week 1 I was like, wow, this leader's nuts. This leader's crazy. And then I kind of went back to set 6 actually might be the better one. And then they showed off the Vegeta and Goku promos from the draft or from the tournament pack, and I was like, holy crap. Set 6, let's go.
Yeah,
Easy peasy
nuts.
But
like I still think the set 6 Gogeta League is just better because you just consistently draw more cards.
At the beginning you do, but at the late game, because you're dropping to do the activate battle, you have to drop to get the double strike in 5k, whereas this leader doesn't. So like in a longest battle, like a set turn 6 and beyond battle, this leader's probably better. But like if you're trying to win on 4 and 5, I think set 6 is better. But just because a leader is better doesn't immediately mean that this leader is now all of a sudden not in that tier.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty solid. You get your key card for the deck. Gogeta Union Fusion. None of his stuff is like Union Fusion draw 2, like how Gotenks is, right?
No, but basically they full replace themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you honestly you probably don't even play any of the old man Veku, but you'll play 4 contents under pressure.
Yeah, the 4-drop.
Um,
Or it's
the
4-drop?
yeah the fat Veku.
The fat Veku. The rare from set 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
play 4 of that because it's a 15k attacker. It can attack in active mode, which is super broken on turn 1 for like Bibbidi. And you just kind of like try to even out because you then on your turn 3 you need to Union Fusion with Gogeta, drop your pieces, draw your 2, and then flip over and then Union Fusion again on the back.
Yeah.
The real issue is the deck's got a really tight curve. Is like turn 1 you better extra card, turn 2 you better drop the Unison, turn 3 you better play Gogeta. And
Yeah.
like you only got a leader and a Veku swing, and the Veku swing isn't even guaranteed
And that's
every
how
turn.
is that how the from my understanding, that's how the old Gogeta deck played as well, right? Where it's just kind of
No, it was super energy flexible because if you
uh,
wanted to play your pieces to be more aggressive and then also plus more, you could. But if you wanted to sit back and be reactionary and just hope that you probably drew more cards than your opponent, you could do that too.
gotcha. I was thinking it like it curved, but it's just turn 4 is always the same play of going into Gogeta.
6 to 8, yeah.
Yeah.
In this deck, it's turn 3 going 5 to 6, and then turn 4, if your opponent's board is empty, you go into the 8.
Yep. And then SCR.
Yeah, broken.
Yeah, the fact that this can run the SCR kind of helps it a lot too. That SCR is really good. So I'm okay with 1.5 for myself.
I think I'll leave it there as well. I just think I think it's like a good deck. We'll just have to see because the 6-drop is admittedly broken. Like you guys have each read that card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That card's just absolutely nuts. The issue is is that everything else about the deck is just kind of fine. It's
Ma-
good.
Imagine having it you play against Lord Slug that comes out turn 2. You can't add
Yeah.
cards to hand. Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? You know.
Yeah.
So next we can talk about
1.
yeah, this is this
That's my
This
favorite
deck's
deck of the
dumb.
format right now.
it's so stupid. This deck is like undoubtedly tier 1 in my mind. I just don't even like topo is the only way you can live, and if you're topoing turns to 2, 3, and 4, you don't have a hand, and then your opponent's just gonna swing through you anyway.
Vampa's so good. People need to read that card again and abuse Vampa.
I, it was already gonna be. It was gonna be. So we can back up in history lesson here.
Okay,
Anyone
before
want to
tournament
tell me
pack.
before the tournament pack? We were probably doing like here.
I
Like it
think
was a
so.
good deck, but then they showed exactly one card
And the secret rare.
in the secret rare, and it's undoubtedly
Yeah.
like a top 5 in format deck. Absolutely nuts.
It's just like so much value. Like playing big guys, ripping your opponent's hand, swinging whatever you want, keep swinging, go up 3 chains at a time with Vampa if you hit the 1-drops.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can keep going.
It's just like
The only complaint I have about is like we have Overlord Servant, and I guess like the Overlord's just kind of there because they're a servant. And then
It's completely unneeded though.
I think it helps
sometimes
with the
sometimes you just
counterplays.
do it to push. Sometimes you just do it to push for game.
Yeah.
Because like I would rather draw one more card here. Bottom deck that 3-drop, draw.
Same with the Chile Limo in the set. It's just like, why are you here?
Those cards are bad.
Like thematically. I get the theme, like, yeah, they save Broly, but then he goes back to your hand for the same cost to play them. You can
So
just play them. 1.
I don't think there's any objections here, right? This is an easy
Right. Yeah.
moving on. This one's a little conjecture. I actually think here. My first thought is
Okay.
1.5.
That's probably a bit higher than I'd put it, simply because it itself does not present a way to win. unlike with Broly and Gogeta here, the leader can just push on his own. Vegeta has a little bit of a harder time with that.
Yeah.
It really requires that you actually like draw your boss monster and that your opponent doesn't have an answer to.
I'll
Right.
agree to that.
And also, if your opponent's like super control defense heavy and you can't deal any damage.
Oh,
well, but
you're
see,
playing against
sometimes
Sin Shenron, you're never doing anything that whole game.
and that's sometimes fine. You just kind of have to look at what is important, because we still have to think about how broken it is that on the front side you swing, you draw, and then if your opponent defends it, they're down a card, and if they don't, you ramp.
Right.
If you go
'Cause-
first and you're going like you go first and then you swing into them and you just drop like a UI Kamehameha, you keep the hand size, you ramp, and then like you're at 3 energy, and then that's a turn 3 Obuni, and it's like a permanent 4 energy, not a partial like Zeno.
But that's
it
just
get-
so swingy though, because of matchups like
I
Vegito
agree.
and Sin Shenron.
I absolutely agree. And that's why it's going to have issues, and I can't feasibly put it here. But like it's somewhere in the 1.5 to 2 range. But I really think that at the end of the day, the front side, because what I think will be meta relevant are going to be decks that are going to like Sin Shenron is good, but I don't know how many people are going to play it.
I don't know that even at Churion in the tournament pack. Pretty good.
And then the
I wouldn't
leader
put it
also
one.
restands twice. Like the amount of turns in the game that your opponent doesn't use a counter is basically like turns 1 and 2. Every other turn they use a counter skill, and so you get a free restand.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I think it's interesting that he like that's a leader that you want to be doing most of your swings with him compared to like
not
battle cards.
oddity.
You could run like more. The low to the ground could be defense, and then have big drops like turning the tide and stuff. That'd be interesting. I definitely not one. Definitely not 3. Like it's blue, so it's good.
Do you think one? So you'll be the tiebreaker, Dom. 1.5 or 2?
I kind of want to go 2 for now, just like because
Okay.
yeah, for set 11,
Okay.
like it's solid. It has good cards. Actually, for set 11, 1.5. If we're just talking set 11 cards. When we go into our big meta, I'd go 2 just because the monster's a thing.
Sure. All right. Woo! Sit down at the matchup. I know if I'm going to win or lose, basically.
Yeah,
It's off my.
I'd agree with that.
So it's sitting here. I can't put it here because they're just too. It's too good. But I can't put it here because if you just sit down across from like Broly, good game. You
Yeah,
sit down across from like Invoker, Sin Shenron, good game.
If your opponent is nearly unbeatable after turn 6, or they're just going to murk you in the first 2 turns, yeah.
So
you have the greatest mid game across the board. That is unquestionable. The question is, does your mid game matter?
Does it
right.
matter that your turn 3 through 5 are good? Oh well.
There's plenty of times where, as Broly, I just swung through that Gohan and didn't care.
Because
On turn 2.
Gohan is both really good and really middling. Because your opponent's still going to leader swing because they'll get to draw the card and they'll bottom it. So it's basically like a cycle.
Yep.
So it doesn't stop the leader swing. And it like one card isn't enough to like stop a turn when the game is about to end. Which is really unfortunate.
Not Champa. Topo is definitely better because of the it's 2. That's so much.
Mm-hmm. But also, I think, and Devon can probably attest to this, this deck needs tournament pack cards. If you aren't running the Big Bang Final Flash thingy, whatever, the D Magic the draws, you should not bring this deck to a tournament. You bring it to a local, but if without TB cards, you're looking like here. Like you're
Yeah.
probably like 0.5, but with TP cards, you're looking at 2. Maybe if certain decks become more relevant, it could go 1.5. But
Yeah, I can see because it's a control deck, but they always take a bit longer time as a meta evolves to figure out how to do what they want to do in the meta. So if
Because
Sin
control decks are only
Shenron,
good based on the tools that you have to answer whatever the current meta is.
right? So if Sin Shenron's still an issue, probably won't see too much of it. And of course Broly, but if they get more answers to like popping like early cards or something as Broly, and then having an answer to Sin Shenron's big play, or somehow surviving or winning earlier, it could go up to like 1.5 easily.
mm-hmm.
Plus they have more cards that come out like Draft Box.
I was gonna say this leader is in a really nice spot because it's so unique that just like existence means that anytime they print a blue counter card,
Yeah,
someone will look at this leader like for the next, I would say like a year and a half before the
this
leaders become like to another level again.
can we say this is Blue Pan?
Yeah, this is pretty close to blue pan.
I say it's Blue Pan.
Just so people are aware, we're not saying in terms of playstyle. We're saying like anytime a new blue card is printed, we'll have to look at this leader and think, does it break the leader? Same with the Vegeta above it. Both of those leaders are like
Yeah, when they're
every
like
time
super
a blue
generic.
card comes out, someone has to look at it. Whereas like Broly and Gogeta, when Gogeta cards get phased out, he's leaving. When Broly cards get phased out, he's leaving. But these two will stay at least semi-relevant because they're so unique.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
I'm good with
Yeah.
this. I'm good with 2.
Yeah.
So Vegeta,
Yeah, don't drop him there. What are you doing?
why did they give him double strike
Double strike, you say? On a leader?
on
Turn
both
1?
sides?
15k double strike, turn 1, help self awaken? Yeah,
I'm leaning towards 1.5 because the leader itself can carry a game, and you can just play a straight up green good stuff deck with him as the lead, and you will do well.
literally
I
all
think
you
that's
need to
actually the
add
better deck.
is like 6 Majin Vegetas and you're good. And the super
I,
combo.
I do honestly believe that good green dot deck is better than the quickening engine because you give up a lot of utility.
Yeah. Quickening's fun.
Quickening is super silly though.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue with this leader is the fact that the active man on the back just means like the second you flip over, you're done seeing new cards. Like because you just can't afford to add cards to from life to hand very often.
Hmm.
And it becomes really tough to just deal with that. So like the crackback from your opponent is very real with this deck. Like maybe more real than any other aggro deck we've seen before it.
Green's good with aggro, I think, too, because they can hit some hand control stuff. Because aggro is a form of hand control. Because
I think
comboing.
Ribrian in this deck is nuts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. Like
it's good.
It's a Saiyan. It's an evil wizard.
I just think the big issue is that it competes with Gohan.
Yeah, there's
That's literally
strong
it.
Gohan vibes.
It's like you just have to compete with Gohan, but like Gohan is a little bit maybe Gohan's first turn isn't as nuts, but like his second and third turn are way better. And then Feet Kamehameha is broken, and they should probably just errata Goku the hell off of that leader.
Yeah,
So
because he's technically dead in that picture.
yeah, because nothing says I'd like to win the game now than a 45k triple crit on turn 2. And so I personally want to put him here. I actually think that he's not as good as 1.5, but I guess we have to leave it to Devon.
Here, I'll say
So I
this.
feel like again, in comparison, thinking back to the Gogeta lead, I don't think we should compare it to another leader based on how good it is. So
Yeah.
because based on that thinking, I think it belongs in 1.5.
Okay. I just think it's a 2 regardless of Gohan. I think it is just also unfortunate, like in terms of like playability in the meta, is like just play Gohan instead, even if it's not worse. You know what I mean?
I want to say like it
I guess.
also you could have a nice mid-range with the deck too, with the
The flip
green.
over is just tough, man.
It is, but the green Dark Broly Unison,
It's so good.
it's so good. It definitely has a quickening little quickening engine in there.
Hmm.
So that's also an idea. So this leader is super versatile with what could be jammed into it. That's why I like 1.5. One
Don't let
now.
anyone tell you differently. I don't know why. I mean, and arguably there, like,
If we want to get really into it.
yeah, I don't understand how. Okay, so people, why is no one talking about this deck?
I don't know.
No one is talking about this
It
deck.
draws so many cards.
And it's hella budget.
It For 2 energy, you can actually plus your hand, like draw an additional card, and establish a 25k body dual attack that blows up a card on play, and if it's removed, gets back its pieces. And then your opponent has to spend all of their attention trying to kill your unison because the -7 is so ridiculous. And none of your battle cards can be killed by battle cards because they have revenge. Ugh. And then it's green.
Green.
This is my favorite phrase that I've come up with this list. It is a yellow deck that has dormant.
Yeah.
It has dormant. It has all the green removal and now the new stopping power of green. Plus, it plays like a yellow deck with the way it sets up its board and hand.
The finishers are good. The setup's good. The mana sink is good. It has a built-in mana sink.
Yeah,
You
which is
you
so.
just play a 15k token.
Or remove a marker from a unison, also good.
Oh yeah, that's also pretty
So just
good.
like prevent if your opponent's dude is if the unison's at 2, and you're just like, wow, I really hope that my card is going to be safe to play. Oops.
No Trunks ceiling, God ceiling
Well,
technique for you.
it doesn't matter because all those cards have deflect for some reason.
Oh yeah, that too.
They have deflect, but not unique. Don't ask me why. And then Devon, as a resident player who used to play a successor-based deck, what's
Yes.
6+6?
Oh, let's count. 12. Turns out there's a
Uh,
really good Successor 12 drop that just happens to win you the game. That
Yeah,
just happens to be,
3 dispos,
free.
right?
three
3
dispos.
dispos. Draws you a lot of cards when you play dispo 3 times.
Yep, that's definitely what we're thinking here.
Celzino is really easy. Like, honestly, it's easier in this deck than probably any deck before it. Maybe besides Jiren, but even then, I would say this is still probably easier. Um,
Because you only need 2
and
bodies.
it draws the whole deck, so you're gonna see it. Like 80+% of games, you see Celzino. It's this
This
deck is so.
this deck might get Celzino and errata. First SCR errata. Potentially.
Yellow,
The next
yellow
Broly.
time.
Um
I don't think it can go anywhere else. I don't think it can. You could argue it's down there, but I just think right here is perfect.
I agree with 2. It's another really budget deck that can just push damage. It's less aggro than say Broly or Gogeta. But the nice thing about it though is that it's a yellow deck, so the odds of you surviving to turn 3 actually increase pretty high thanks to Nimbus. And then once you drop your Unison, aggro decks just can't touch you.
And if they can, they have to spend all of their attacks clearing the unison, and so it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Right.
The I guess yeah, we gotta remember we're talking just at 11 because it's still a whole another month till draft box, getting that all their higher
Getting,
dragon in
I
the
don't even
drop
think that
boxes.
think that card's okay, but I don't think it really changes the place in the meta.
It still could be more support added because of that though.
Yeah.
I forgot to check his numbers, but
So we're looking at this leader, and there are two philosophies to play it. Is like the leader is a quote unquote +2 on the back. So either you play it as it draws 2 while also being the first leader that draws and then optional pickup life. We had pick up life then draw, or if you pick up life draw. Then we had optional life then draw, and now we have draw then optional life. This is the most versatile in that regard. You can choose if you need a dig or not, which is really big. And then it's a draw 2, so you just draw a lot of cards. It's a +2 on the back one because it plays a body. And if you're just playing like higher dragon, you can just combo with it, and you then drew 2 cards, and you were a 20k leader. Or so you can play like the good yellow deck with Bergamos, War Cries, Vanilla Khalifa into 4-drop U6 Khalifa, or Cataplessa into Power Rangers.
all
All
very interesting.
all interesting options. I think the skill drain version is still really great. It kind of like builds itself. The only thing that you have to do good is like your ratios, but like what's in the deck kind of builds itself. Is like include like 12 skill lists and 4 of each Sire Dragon, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
And as for
fair.
your 12 skill lists, nothing in the deck actually checks names. So if you want to include like a smaller sub engine, there are Caulifla 1-drop yellows.
Yep, and the Cataplessa from the Power Rangers too.
I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything else besides those.
Kakarot, Oracle
Does it
Fish.
have
with
to be
Oracle
yellow, right?
It has to be
Yep.
yellow.
Yeah. Well, anything worth picking.
Yeah. There's nothing really else worth picking because you have like Kakarot and Vegeta, so it's like Vegeta Youth and that, or Vegeta Childhood. I don't know.
Doesn't do anything,
Little
yeah.
little on planet Vegeta, and Kakarot, and then Oracle Fish.
Yeah.
It's not great options, but Khalifa and Cataplessa are honestly better than basically anything you could ask for besides Son Goku in red. So
Yeah. I think it's a fun deck. It definitely goes wide really fast. Your hand's really huge. You just like your finisher is just 20Ks though.
yep. So I think there are certain decks that do really well. Like I think this deck has a really hard time with blue because if you
Beans.
just like see a Sensu Bean once, it's like, yeah, you can combo, but that does make your strategy significantly like slower.
Hmm.
Also, better than any other aggro deck, it reestablishes really quickly. If your opponent clears your board, you're just like, okay, here's another unison. Or so like they clear your board and they clear your unison, and you're like, oh darn. Unison, and then play 3 vanillas.
Well,
Cool.
it doesn't have a solid answer against Secret Identity.
No, it does not.
Se-
I'll
it's
agree to that.
Against what?
Secret
Secret
identity,
Identity Massan
Oh yeah,
warps
yeah,
your
yeah.
board.
That
because they
Because
go to
they're all
war
1-drops.
and drop,
yeah. You would
which is
probably
pretty bad.
side deck Gravy at that point.
Um,
I think that's the only real
I
thing
don't
that
even
Ghost
know
goes
what you
back.
do.
I kind of
Gravy's
agree
a
with
hard
Don. Side deck
sideboard.
Gravy is probably the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
I must
Yeah.
get back the dragons.
Counterplay Piccolo maybe.
No, because it doesn't hit. It's 6-drop.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know. Either way, right? That's like a best of 3 meta, which we probably will not see. We will definitely not see it within the set 11 only meta, but we probably
Yeah,
won't even see it
you're
before
right.
the end of set 12. So,
Webcams are too hard to do threes. Or just online in
uh,
general.
yeah, all right.
3. No. Yeah,
No.
3.
Uh,
I wouldn't go 4. If
I
it
tried.
if it gets
It's
going, it'll
oh, dumb. I don't know, man.
if it gets established at all, plus the Chi-Chi's really good.
Sure.
If it gets established at all, it's an uphill battle.
Sure.
okay, but like Dane and I were talking about this yesterday. If Makio Star didn't negate the skills, it would
100%.
be so much better.
100%. They'd go up. It would be
Like
instantly
it would
two.
immediately it would jump to
Instantly
here,
two. 100%.
but it does, and so the only one that's worth playing off of Makio Star is Yamcha,
Which sucks
and
because you don't want to
yeah,
block.
and it's a single time usage of a blocker, and it's like, well, I would rather just negate, and I don't know, man. They just
Okay, go for
why
it.
would they
Go
make
for it.
the
Go for it. You convinced
why
me.
would they make and I people will probably be yelling at us because yeah, people will probably think that we're wrong, but there's just no reason that they made the unison and the like evolve target 3 drops in a deck that doesn't untap 2. If you untap 2, at least then you can play like blue yellow and like Sensu Bean and force it, but you
Yeah.
can't. You're just
All of these other
goofed.
decks have very linear plans as to like their gameplay progression, where your normal battle card chains don't interfere with the turn that you want to drop your unison. Garlic, you want to do both on 3, and that presents a dilemma.
Yeah.
Either you drop your unison to try to awaken, and then you don't establish a board and you just pass turn and you hope your Makio Star does your work for you, or you drop your boss monster and then you give up having a unison, which in this game can just mean you lost.
Cause his awakens draw too, right?
1-1.
All 1/1. Yeah, he needs to untap too. Cause even like the alternate awakening of having a 3-drop unison in play is so
Three
rough.
drop 3 drop is hard, man. You're probably already going to be awakening on turn 3 most of the time. So like if you're gonna give him that alternate, he has to be inherently more defensive. But he's not.
Free play a blocker a turn. Yay.
But only if you see it and Makio Star.
You'll probably
Like you
see
have to do
Makio
so
start because
much.
of the one Spice Boy, but
Yeah. But it's still not a good bet you want to take, you know what I mean? Like
right, right.
and the leader is so locked to the archetype and not in a good way. It's not like, oh, Broly is locked to the Broly swap archetype because that, but like the Broly archetype is good. The cards in this archetype, the only one that are good are literally the Garlic cards and the Chi Chi. Every
Yeah.
other card sucks.
The oh crap, I was gonna say the Unison, the baby Unison, like kind of sucks. It's a blocker. Okay, it's good. It's a blocker and it restands itself. But I can't remember what the other thing do. Restand one of your bigger yellow dudes. So you
Uh,
restand your Garlic Junior to swing again with crit for minus like 4.
-2.
Oh, -2 is not too bad.
It's a +1 to switch to active mode, which great. It's a 20k blocker. Woo, that's your
Yeah.
opponent
My
your opponent doesn't even need to clear it. They can literally just ignore your unison and just kill you.
my theory is with the expansions that are coming out, the yellow card is going to be a new unison for Garlic Jr.
There's no way. It has to be, right?
Because yeah, in those expansions there's 2 copies of each card, 5 cards, so one of each color, and one of them is going to be a unison card. It has to be.
What if it was like a 10k unison and it said like when you play this card, choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. And so it's like a 1-drop, 3-drop, if that makes sense. And so you could on 3 play your unison, +1 or +2 it,
And then
and then
awaken.
leader awaken, that's 1, and then the thing restood 2, so that's all 3. So you can play Garlic as well.
So it's just a free, basically free play, like, and not have
Yeah.
anything super busted, but like just enough. Like keep blocker, because that's pretty defense for the deck. Because the
In
deck seems very defense focused.
It would have to be a +2 because well, so here's the thing: is that you can't make a 15k unison that's a like restand 2 like that and have it be a 15k. It has to be vulnerable on your opponent's turn, like really vulnerable.
Yeah, 5k maybe gains 10 on your turn.
That's fine.
is still a blocker too, but it'll probably just get attacked anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the baby also has a permanent if you have 2 or more yellow battle cards and play in rest mode. So if it's the
Yeah, it becomes a
servant,
20k.
he becomes a 20k and your leader becomes a 20k,
Your
But
leader
like,
also just plays a card in rest mode when your opponent attacks.
which is great for the deck. But getting
but
to awaken is the hard part because you want to try
Yeah.
awaken 6. But either way, it needs like a little bit more help.
I don't even think a little bit. It needs like 2 or 3 cards still.
Yeah, it needs more better targets.
Um,
Cool. Don't
Getting ahead.
switch.
Getting
Spoilers.
ahead. Getting ahead. I switched these around because these two are more comparable, and this one's kind of its own thing. I can't put it higher than this, but I think this is a good spot for it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, red has
Yeah.
a lot of ways to slow that down with Topo, Violent Ray, and the potentially that Roshi negate that just says your opponent can't attack with
No
battle cards
25.
25 or higher,
Mm-hmm.
which just shuts down the deck.
Also, the deck is extremely budget. There is not other outside of general black staples. You don't need a single super rare to play this deck well.
Yeah, the super rare is not as good as the rare in this set for the deck.
No.
It's so like I think they misprinted.
Um, Point is, leader's pretty good. Self awaken and draw. It sets up its own drop to do its all effects. When it gets going on like turn 5, I watched someone play like 5 30Ks in one turn. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that was a good
all
speed.
right, all right. No,
That
no, it was an Android video recently.
oh that
Um,
Rex also did something similar against me.
but like, so you can do that, but at the same time, like you said, dormant, uh, Nimbus, violent rays, topo. Okay, cool.
I think
Yeah.
aren't a lot of the early targets are very low drop, so they're very counterplayable and not
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
they're all 1-drops.
yeah, and they're not sticky at all, which they
Your
kind of
deck is
need to be
entirely
sticky.
1 and 6. There's no
Oh,
in
true.
between.
Yeah, so that they're not that sticky.
Um, Thankfully, anytime they print a 30K black card, look at the leader.
The Migra.
Yeah, that card's good. But I think it's just like a fine deck. I just think that it will have a little bit too hard of counters to be able to like win an event. I think it can place. I think all of these decks could like top 8. They could get into that first round of top 8 or top 16 and
Oh
like
yeah,
do well.
easily.
But it's just tough. The deck is like its strong points are really good. We've seen with Sin Shenron, establishing a 30K is broken. Establishing a 30K blocker is broken on turn 1, but there's just not enough. There's too many ways to counter it. That's like it. It's like I don't know how the deck becomes better because the gimmick of the deck in itself is weak. The way that like set sevens of the Masu's gimmick was weak, and
This is just hey, I play 30Ks all game.
yeah, and like it's a linear plan, and then like if they can counter it, they just counter it. Like whatever.
Yeah, it
The
becomes
unison
a
blocker,
endurance.
unison blocker, cool. I'll just block every 30K. Yeah, I take 1 hit. Okay, but it's done.
You can only play one of each copy of the cards a turn, so if you start wiping them mid turn,
Can you only play them once per turn, or are they just unique?
no, you. I think
Um,
pretty sure you only
they
play them
have
once per turn.
unique, and most of them have an auto of when you play this card, you can't play copies of this card for the turn.
Got it.
So they have both. It's
Yeah,
they really want to limit you to like you can only jam out 2 each turn.
they don't want Storm
Yeah.
because it's really cheap.
Luckily,
It's really cheap to get these guys out.
luckily because of how it is, you can get both your 6-drops out on your first attack turn, swing with both, and assuming they both live, on your next turn you attack with both. Then you combo them both because your leader can combo with combo in quotes here, combo with your rest mode battle cards, and then you can establish 2 more.
That's what my thinking was.
That is, from what I've seen, that is the best way to assemble these.
But I don't think we need to spend any more time on it. It
Nah,
has weaknesses, but it can play 30Ks. Now these
30Ks.
two,
I think they're both pretty comparable. They both have very similar game plans. I think that they'll
I
both
got
end up being tier
1.5.
1.5.
1.5. I
Is
feel
it
like
1.5?
people need
I don't know
to
if I can do that. I think I gotta do it like that.
Gohan's weaker. Gohan gets free Piccolo.
I know, but when I've tested, the thing is Gohan is like honestly, it's a harder deck to like. It might be a harder black deck to play than Toa.
Oh wow.
It's a hard deck. This deck is not easy to maximize. Like if you're just playing it like how you think you're supposed to, like I'm just gonna do overwhelm 3 every turn, then yeah, but like the leader becomes here then. But if you actually want to maximize it, it goes to like here or here.
Yeah.
It's hard. And like because it's on an auto, why wasn't the thing an activate main? You wouldn't have to be big brain if it was just activate main.
Because auto
But
won you a swing, right?
yeah, so it's so hard to set up your drop area in a nice way.
Yeah.
Whereas
The-
Goku, yeah, go ahead, Devin.
After playing with Gohan, I guess my biggest thing that I really liked with Gohan was being able to establish a unison on turn 1 and overwhelm a card that matters also on turn 1, while also possibly hitting some of the Vegeta starter cards.
Yeah.
But as far as just being a good value overwhelm deck, Goku does have the advantage of being able to consistently 6 every turn, whereas Gohan is looking at more of the 3 to 4 range every turn. So
Okay.
it's if you're looking at the 6, you are looking at cards like Man on a Mission and Bardock.
Oh, those cards are so broken.
Right. So when you compare cards like that to, I don't know, the SS3 Tag Team Trunks, it's good, but you
Man
could
on a
just
Mission.
Man on a Mission.
Yeah, it's a bigger number and it's both of the keywords
Right. And not
without losing a card in hand.
Yeah.
or an energy. He costs no energy, doesn't he?
No,
Man
he's
on a Mission costs
Overwhelm
nothing.
6.
And Trunks costs 1, I thought.
0.
Nope, he's
Okay, my
also
bad.
free, but he costs a card in hands to
Oh, yep,
give
yep.
the Double Strike.
Double strike. And then Tenacious Bardock the Tenacious costs 1, and then Vegeta costs 2.
hmm I think
But like,
it's really fun to see old school Overwhelm again. Like
Yeah.
you
I
can
agree.
really tell. If anyone watched our old video with Rex, talking with him, he's got into the game around the same time you did, right, Dane?
No, he started in like February, which
Oh
is
yeah,
crazy because he's so good for someone who started then.
right. So he saw black and he's like, these are trash. Cause
He didn't know what to do with them.
yeah, because people don't know old school Overwhelm back in like set 3-4 because black has become since then
Boo,
Wish,
Hatchiyak,
Wish,
Wish,
Boo, Hatchiyak, Super Aggro, Super
Power
Control,
Rangers.
or
We've seen all of these very unique my drop area matters, my drop area is precious decks. Whereas previous Overwhelm decks have been my drop area is an expendable resource. Get rid of it.
Burst 3, play a 3-drop. Burst 3, play a 3-drop.
Yep.
Then Awaken, return 3, play a 3-drop. Return 3, play a 3-drop.
Toa kind of
That's
like
what
that, but she was like way more like different because of hand control. She was like a hand control deck. She wasn't
Mhm.
playing
yeah,
just like value Overwhelm cards all the game.
nothing. The thing about what separated Toa from the other decks is that Toa didn't inherently need to attack to get advantage. Every other Overwhelm lead, it was a on swing do this or active battle do this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's fun seeing old school Overwhelm, and then I think these cards easily could move up in their tier, like half a tier maybe. For sure, Gohan can once people start
Yeah,
playing it,
Gohan could
because black is so
Gohan
Gohan's
much
could
to
be
potential
here
watch.
being
now.
1.5.
Yeah,
Gohan could be here now
but they could easily
if you
reach
have
tier 1 too,
200 IQ brain every single time you play the game.
which in a long day of a tournament, nah.
You can't expect that. You need a leader that kind of plays the game for you. And Goku puts back 4. And then the SS4 Gohan Unison puts back 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. Oops, I ran on a mission again. Do you have an answer?
Toki Toki City,
Toki
like
Toki City. It stayed in play this turn.
both of them. because
I don't know if this deck will be enough for Toki Toki to make a comeback.
No, but I think with like Black Overrealm having such a toolboxy feel, once people figure out like the game plan they want to do with it, and of course the Overrealm 6 cards are great, like mid range. Like I definitely could see these going up to 1 at some point because there's just people have to put in the effort to get into the deck. Because we have not seen this gameplay in a while.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
That's it.
This looks like set 11. Vegeta's these. Okay, so let's put this one here because we're like we're like certain he's like 1.5.
Yeah.
These 3 could all go down 1. This one could move up 1. This one could probably go down, and then this one could go like here.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of what I expect from like a new set. You know, they're strong, but there's always the one left behind.
Which I just can't believe it's yellow. Yellow is like the worst color going into the next meta, guys. Can you believe that?
It's because garlic is.
Well, not only that, just like the yellow cards are kind of getting stuck behind. Like Raider's Warcry is like no longer the optimal turn 2 play, which is just nuts.
Yeah, blue's identity of just tapping cards. It's kind of like too slow still.
You mean yellow?
Sorry, yellow.
I was like blue.
Blue on taps cards, specifically in your energy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up. This has been Dane, Devon, and Dom looking at set 11 meta and how we think these cards individually do. In just a moment, we'll go ahead and start filling in some slots with what we believe will be the rest of the meta. You can go ahead and check out that video down in the description, or maybe even an annotation if we get fancy. In the meantime, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you soon.